Okay, so what are we going to work on today? I think we are going to work on the face some more. So let's kind of review, right? Hello. Painted quite a bit of the body, right? It's not perfect. It's getting there. A lot of the stomach and the chest are done. Worked on the neck. A lot of the shadows and stuff are in on the body. So I think we will continue on the face, some of the details of the face. Hello, Rui. So let's continue. All right. Do we want to work on? Let's work on the ears a little bit. The old cauliflower ears. Hey, Meow. How are you? This one might be hard to see on camera because his arm blocks it quite a bit. So let's do this one. All right, so kind of the goal here, right? It is an important part of this kind of his character, right? So we just want to get the rough shape in. And then we can start to add some more details. We don't want to over highlight them. At least on the lower parts of the ear, but we will add some strong lights towards the top where it's facing upwards. We can go slightly more reddish on the ears also. Mortis King, thanks for the prime. Appreciate it. I appreciate you. Okay, so something like that. Then we will push the light just a bit more towards the top, and then we can kind of blend it together, but we're just getting the shape in. We really want to try and show that swollen aspect to the ear. And Nate. How's everyone doing? What you guys been working on? What are you working on? What are you painting? Okay. While we're doing this on some parts up here, maybe I want to add a little more light. Hair of the Moon and Amanita Shaman, cool. And then the not Blood Bowl orc, got it. Oh, cool. You, have you watched the videos? What the heck was the name of that? Or is it just Orc King? I mean, that's what I called him. I don't know if they gave him a name, like an official name. Okay, it was just Orc King. Like, that's what I called him, but sometimes I paint a model before, like, you know, the final branding for the figure comes out, and I'm like, I have no idea what the, like, I don't remember what, like, the official name for a figure was, so sometimes I just call it the descriptive name. Well, let me know if you enjoy the videos. Yes, we are going to add bruises. We're going to do a lot of facial details today. We're really going to try and work on some, get the face basically finished. What's up, Bachnock? Good evening, Mark. How are you? Yeah, we're going to keep working on the face. So do the hair, finish the beard, do the eyes and ears and eyebrows and all the facial details. I do have a question on Chimera paints. I was painting something after I used black primer on. It seems the paints are sort of frosty and not pure color. Okay, so you can't, well, all right, let me make a quick explanation. There's two types of Chimera paints. You have these type of Chimera paints, which are the signature, and then you have, let's see. That one's not a great example. Here we go. Well, that's a bad one too. But you have these kind of Chimera paints, okay? Yeah. So these are pure pigment, okay? Pure pigment If you want any kind of coverage over top of black with something like this, you have to add some lighter tone to it. Okay, whether it's white or ivory or even a mixture like this, right? If you take a paint like this, Vallejo, right? These are both blue, but this is not pure blue, okay? This has white mixed into it. The white that is already pre-mixed into this paint is what gives it coverage. So if you want coverage, you either have to paint a lighter tone first and then go back over top of it with the blue, or you have to mix some blue into it, right? You can't just paint this directly over the top. I hope that brief explanation kind of explains what's going on. These are mixtures, and they're more like the signature colors are more like what you would find in a Vallejo paint, where it's a blend of pigments. Yeah, I would recommend going and watching the video that they made about it. I think either Ricardo or Francesco kind of explained it better. It's not that zenithal is required. You just you have to learn to use them a different way. Okay. Most of the time they're meant for mixing, right? You can use them straight out of the bottle as like a glaze or something like that, or even to paint them straight over top of a lower value or like a higher value color, but you need to have something in them typically. Hey, what's up, Jason? Hi, Raiders. Hi, hello, welcome. We're trying to paint this ear and be on camera at the same time, and this arm is doing its best job to try and block my view. How's everyone doing? Who you got in Tapuria versus Volkanovski? I've got Volkanovski. I think Volkanovski's going to win. Sorry, Spain. Lo siento amigos de España, porque tu luchador va a muerto. I don't know how to say that. He's going to lose. As far as I understand, Tapuria is not exactly popular amongst Spaniards anyways. Apparently he's a bit of a loudmouth. Él va a morir. There you go. Yeah, see? Right now we've got 100% confirmation that Spaniards don't like Tapuria. Is he Basque? Where's he from exactly? Yes, he does also claim to be Georgian. Which I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with that. No, some people do it and I'm like, half Spaniards. Okay. I know there's a lot of cultural arguments to be made there about, you know. But it's funny that I speak to Alfonso quite a bit because he's a fan of UFC also, and he doesn't like Tapuria because he calls him like a loudmouth idiot, and I'm like, but he liked Israel Adesanya. I'm like, that guy is the worst. Like he is. I guess when you know, maybe hearing someone trash talk in your native language can be slightly different because they could sound more ignorant depending on if it's your native language or not. But hey, there's Americans that like Sean Strickland, so what the heck, you know? I feel like just invoking his name that he's going to call me out on Twitter now. Somebody's going to show this video to him and Sean Strickland's going to start trash talking me. Good evening, Harry Dog and Michael Murphy and Orthank. Thanks for the follows, guys. Appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Right now, we're just doing a little painting on here on this guy. I've got some more work to do on that ear, but I'm going to let it go for a minute. Okay, over here, under this eye. So he's got one kind of bruised eye and one normal-ish. Here, I want to add a little more shadow. Oh, I feel like I'm getting off camera. Okay. A little more shadow under that eyebrow. This is all brush. This is all brush, no airbrush. Thanks, Chromatic Miniatures. That purple you're seeing, I haven't actually used any real purple. That purple you're seeing is a mixture of this blue and kind of the more reddish skin tones. So it creates a very kind of subtle, desaturated, purplish tone. Okay, so this is the normal eye. This one we're going to do not beat up. This is the eye we're going to do all beat up. But the first thing we need to do is kind of just paint the inside of the eye. So I'm going to get like a really dark reddish color here. And we're just going to do the eye with that as a base coat. All right, and one more little layer. Okay, so I like to use a red here, more reddish tone, because I'm not really going for a black outline. And you can see here that it's really dark under there. That's fine. That's like a tonal black. Right. Sometimes you might have to flip the figure over. To really get into those recesses underneath the eyelid. We can always clean up around the eye after, okay? Point is to get a nice lining around the eye. And then if we need to make adjustments, I find it easier to kind of go past the eye, right? It's better to spill over and then come back and kind of clean up than it is to try and get it like perfect on the outside. Okay, now we need to create a grayish tone. Right, we're going to make a slightly grayish color. It's almost skin tone, but it's more desaturated. I'm going to get some more white. Ivory in this case. It's a little dried out. Right? Look at me. Okay? We'll switch. Right? What color are my eyes? Like the whites of my eyes. They're not white. If I go like this, they're white, right? They're white. If I go like this, they're not white. Right? You can see the reddish around the outline. And you can see that the actual eyeball, right? The whites of the eyes are not actually white. They're like a gray, and they're pretty close to, right? They're not too far off from a skin tone. Yeah. I'm going to give myself a, whoops. All right, wrong camera. There we go. I'm going to give myself a black eye to show you what one looks like. All right, so I can just create a gray tone here. It's not white, it's far from it. And I'm trying to leave a bit of that red on the bottom, right? I want that line on the bottom of the eye. Hi. Okay, and then I can go, I'll add a little bit more red for the outside. Try and be careful here. Hey. So see, I used the red and it still feels quite white by comparison. Okay, the other eye, we can actually go quite reddish, because if he was getting punched a lot in this eye, it might be a little more bloodshot. It's also quite closed. Right, so you're barely even going to be able to see that eye. Okay. All right, I need to look at a picture of Justin because I don't know what color eyes he has. They just kind of look dark in pictures. I know they're not brown. Show me a good picture of Justin Gaethje. High res. They're like bluish gray. Okay. They're just kind of bluish gray. I think. Oh, here's a good one. Yeah, they're like blue-gray. Okay. So we'll mix up, we'll take some black and some of this blue. And maybe even some of this like olive green kind of color. And just make like a dark, sort of neutral color. Come on. Come on, come on. Maybe even a little bit of that. Little Horace Lupercal phone. You guys always try and follow me like while I'm in the middle of trying to paint an eye. You think you're gonna mess me up? Follow or subscribe? Do you give me a notification bell, the sound to screw me up? It ain't happening. Right, so it's like it's not really like it's gray, but you can still feel that it's like kind of blue. People don't really have like, or it's very unusual for someone to have like pure blue eyes. Okay, so we do that. We can even darken the edge a little more, just making sure that they're like roughly the same size. Right, we don't want to overdo it. Okay, now the next goal is to take a little bit more of the blue and we'll add some white to get a nice desaturated gray blue. Maybe we'll even grab some of the green. Okay. Now, all right, steady time. I want to come in and paint this little crescent shape in the bottom of the eye. I think I can kind of push this a little more. Right, something like that, right? Now, for the other eye, it's pretty shut. So I don't know how much of this really is going to be affected, but we'll try and get just a bit of color into the corner. Like I said, if I get a little on the eyelid, that's okay. I can go back and fix that. This is why I'm not too worried about. This is why I paint the eyeball first and then paint around the eyes. All right, now we gotta grab some black. Just slowly adjust the size of the cornea. Okay, that's kind of what we're looking for. And he's got an upper eyelid here. I'm just going to go around the top of the eyelid and just try and fix that line. And then on the other eye, get that dot kind of in the eye in there. Okay, so what else? All right, let's take a tiny bit more of this red. Kind of adjust this shape here on the inside of the eye, because we're gonna put the white dot, but also the tear duct. I have to try and get that down in there, and then I can fix around it. Okay, now come back with a base layer. So that line might be a little wrong at the moment. Okay, so flip it over, I'll flip it over. You guys can kind of see here, those need to be connected, but not the tear duct is the brightest part, right? Get that to focus. It's better. And then make any small adjustment I need here. Get that shape right. And then the last thing, I always test first. Right? It can be very, this part can be very difficult. You gotta make sure you got the brush just right. I'm going to choose not to do it on the other eye because the other eye is swollen, is more swollen shut. Okay, now. Now we can go back and clean up around the eye. Yeah, it definitely will shine more. So like when we go to do this, it'll have like, that's the reason they call it a shiner, right? Maybe if you've never heard that term before, but yeah, there's a nickname for a black eye called a shiner, or a slang term for a black eye. Is it? Hello. Jakia? I don't know. Hello, welcome. Okay, so upper eyelid. We're gonna do the more, the eye that's fine first. And honestly, I'm thinking I might just do that line kind of dark now, looking at it. Because it feels almost more like what would be like eyelashes than. Well, if you've ever seen a really bad black eye, it can get pretty dark. But the interesting thing is fighters, when you're like in the middle of a fight, it doesn't really turn purple black like right away. It tends to be more reddish. We're going to make it a bit purple with some blue, but it actually tends to be slightly more on the red side. Because the bruise takes a while to turn purple, and he literally like it just happened. So here we can use, say, some more of this like purplish blue skin tone. We want all of this. Right, the whole eye is kind of swollen up. And then a little more red into the mixture with some white, turn it kind of pinky purple. Maybe a bit more of the blue. I'm actually going to look up a picture. Who got beat up recently? Dricus Duplessis in his fight against Sean Strickland got jabbed in the eye a lot. Let's look at his picture. In fact, if you guys want to see, you can look at that and see it's kind of purplish, but it's also quite shiny, and you can see just how red, like bloodshot, his eyes look. Right, so we want to get that purple reddish tone. More in the highlights, but then it turns quite red in the shadows. Right, something like that. And then we need to soften the transition between the eyebrow and the eye itself with more natural skin tones. We got to paint his eyebrows also, but okay, something like so. And I'll make some further adjustments over here. So you can see on the side here, it starts to turn a bit more pink again. And And then we'll get some little wrinkles and stuff in a bit. All right, let's add some more white to the mixture, a little more blue. We can kind of stipple some brighter lights in there. We want the light to be pretty quick of a transition. And that's going to give it a shinier look to it. Hello. Hi, X-Wing pilot. How you doing? Okay, and a little bit more. Cool. Thank you. I'm good. Doing some painting. Does he appropriately look like he's got a guy look like he's been in a fight now? They actually use Vaseline. Well, they will use Vaseline to like fill the if it gets cut. But they also use they use Vaseline so the punch, like the glove, the friction of like an elbow or something doesn't tear the skin, right? They want it to be like a hit, but not like a pull, because that's what causes cuts, right? It's when you get like the skin on skin friction of an elbow is what'll cut you open. All right, let's add some. We're going to add a little bit of wrinkles here. Sorry. Trying to get an angle that you guys can see. I add some little wrinkle lines. I don't know if I want to do any cuts. Because cuts get weird, right? Cuts get, like, you either have like two cuts where it's like kind of superficial and it doesn't bleed that bad, or you get like really bad cuts that just like bleed everywhere, and then I'd have to put like blood effects all over them because it gets like rubbed around and it starts to like mix with the sweat and just goes crazy. So I don't know if I want to add any like severe cuts, just some bruises, I think. Okay, see, just doesn't have to be a lot. Just add some subtle couple lines to create some wrinkling around the eyes. We can do the same over here. Hi, help community. All right, I need to look at a picture of Justin again. Okay, and he does not have a super. He doesn't really have like super like sunken eyes or really like strong lower eyelids. So I'm going to reduce a little the separation here of the lower eyelid and the cheek. Oh, sorry, let me get on camera. This one's fine, right? This is fine because it's all, you know, swollen up. But the other one, yeah, he doesn't have like big bags under his eyes or anything. So Okay, line the eyelid. And then we're going to do the same thing because he's smiling. We're going to give him some, just a bit of wrinkle. We'll soften this transition. Okay. I'm going to add a very slight wrinkle to around his eyebrows. So I'm going to grab one of these a little bit darker shades. Just add a couple marks there. Okay. Let's add a touch more highlight to these wrinkles on the side. Yep. Okay. Next step. Probably need to paint his eyebrows because it's going to start to bother me that he doesn't have any. It's already bothering me that he doesn't have any, but I want to smooth this just a touch here. Just use a glaze. Very lightly with the glaze here. I'm going to do the same. Okay. All right, one last, well, not last, but one more small adjustment. That shadow under there is quite strong. I think it's starting to look like him. I think we're getting pretty close. Let's zoom out for a second. Let's see how he's looking. Yeah. Okay. How long have we been streaming? A little over an hour. Okay, what do I need to add next? Let's just paint his eyebrows real quick, just so I can like feel better about it. He does have pretty light eyebrows, and his hair is actually quite interesting because he has a bit of a different hair color to his beard color. His beard is like really red, but his hair is slightly more like brownish blonde. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's it's not unusual. It's just his is like really distinctly red, as opposed to his beard color, which is much more, or his hair color, which is quite a bit more blondish. So we just want to get the shape, and then we can add highlights and stuff and give kind of texture to it. I'm not giving him a unibrow. Forget about it. We are trying to paint a real person here. He doesn't have a unibrow. Thanks, Slick Daddy Bill. Appreciate it. He's coming together. He's starting to look more like a person now. Now that he's got eyes and got eyes and stuff. Okay. You guys kind of see. So your eyebrow kind of stops it's pretty far over, but you have the hair also becomes significantly less like dense over towards the outside of the eyebrow. So even though it might come like all the way down here, most people's eyebrows tend to be thicker towards the inside. Can I make the outside corner of his eye lower? No. I could do something. I know I kind of get what you're saying with the shape of his eyes. Looking at a picture of them, they do kind of droop a little more. So what I could do, if we want to try and make him look a bit more like it, I guess we could take some of this kind of gray here. Bring this a bit more into the lower corner. Like that. And then to give that kind of overhang shape that his eyes have, we can try and round this over a bit more and add a bit of shadow here. Let me get a slightly darker tone. So yeah, he has a bit more of a rounded shape to the corner of his eye, like this, I think is what you're trying to say. Slightly more like that. Hi, Professor Grimm. Oh, he's got a messed up his nose, like in real life. Yeah, he's got a very kind of flat nose. He's probably been punched in it a few times. If you wanted to do an army or warband tabletop game, would you try painting them like this or go about it differently? I would definitely go about it differently. You can, on my YouTube, if you want to check out my YouTube, you can watch me paint one of my Deathwatch Kill Team models. And yeah, I do it much different. I'm just Eric Swinson on YouTube. You can scroll down and find one of my Deathwatch Space Marines, and I have an Orc one, so an Orc Commando. All right, I'm gonna take a quick break. And then when I come back, we'll work on the hair some more. Work on the beard, do the hairline, or refine the beard, do the hairline, finish the eyebrows. Okay, I'll be right back. back to the question about army warm, is it because you're doing multiple models or because you feel like doing it the same level of work wouldn't work out? I'm just curious, because doing a army a certain way versus doing a bust will end up being different or difficult, I would expect, but everyone is different at the end of the day. It's really just about level of effort. I always keep one of my guys like on hand just because people like to ask. Right. So this is one of my Death Watch Marines. I kind of describe it in a way to say like everyone should have their own definition of what tabletop standard is to them and how far they want to like push a model. If you wanted to paint your whole arm, like if you wanted to paint a kill team to Golden Demon quality, you could totally do that. And it might take you like a month or a couple months or more. But I don't think it's realistic for like a whole army. Right? Like this guy, he's got a bit more fanciness. He's got all this freehand, some OSL and stuff. But he took me about 2 days. So, you know, it's kind of up to you how far you want to push a figure like this. Maybe you spend a little more time on your sergeant, maybe, you know, or whatever. Okay. All right, so for his beard, let's get a little of the brown back. What was the brown I was using? This doesn't really matter, but this reddish brown. Okay. And then I want to paint some more hair texture. It's important to think about the way the hair grows. Here on like the side of his face, you're gonna see I want it to curl a little bit and go back towards the jaw. So instead of down, right, I want it to come back like it's curling towards the ear. And different people's hair grows different, so it's also, he has a very short beard, so I don't want like super long brush strokes either to create this texture. I'm actually going to take some of this and some of this dark brown and mix them together and tone this down so I can then put some lighter texture on top. Not towards his face, just kind of in the back here. So it's quite red. Are there? Yes, I do have some people that I go to for feedback. Some peers. I'm not going to explicitly name names because I don't want to, what they choose to give me feedback, and I don't want it to not trying to be rude, but they're, you know, some of them are working professionals and they might charge for their time. And I don't want to like sound like I'm volunteering them to give feedback to others, you know? All right, so you can see the kind of texture I'm going for. I'm good, Jonas. How are you? Yeah, I don't know how. I honestly have no idea how Dave finds the time to do that. That's like if I tried to do that, I would never get any work done. I already charge to do like private feedback. I'm sure some of you in here have done private feedback with me. Um, and I do a lot of that. So if I was doing it just for free, oh my God, I'd never have time to do anything. All right, a little more of the light hair on the side of his face, just a bit. See you later. Oh, a little bit more. That's dust or something. Oh, sorry. That dang hand getting in the way again. All right. Now, because of the cast shadow under his nose for these hairs, we've got to darken this a little bit. He doesn't have like a super thick mustache, so. Then just like that. And then we can move back to the eyebrows. We want some kind of thickness and volume to the eyebrows towards the middle. But then we're going to take this kind of blondish tone, a little bit of the brown, create a more blondish mixture. And think about how the eyebrows grow, right? They kind of grow outwards. We can actually use a touch of the skin tone. People with very light eyebrows tend to, the eyebrows kind of like almost disappear. All right, so just something like such. Okay, just give it some texture. Did you see any of the stuff from Crimson this year? Yes, I did. I did see some of it. It was pretty cool. Some good stuff, man. I likened the Australian painting community to kind of what's going on in the U.S. at the moment. Both painting communities are like really growing in terms of skill and subject matter, the popularity of like larger scale figures and display painting I think it's really cool. All right, let's grab just a touch of the skin, and we're going to try and make the bottom of this eyebrow a bit more irregular, right? It kind of fades away into the skin here. I want just a little more shape and shadow under the eyebrow. Just right here. Okay. Good. Coming together. Make a small adjustment there. All right. Roll my dang sleeves up. Fold them down. Okay. Hair. Let's look at his hair. Need to see his hairline. So the side of his hair, we're going to make by mixing some of these together. Hi, Trickster. Let's do this side just because it's easier to see. So it comes out like this to here, and then comes down to the beard. like such. And then same thing on the other side, making sure that I'm doing it from the same spot. So it goes kind of like that. Now I'm going to make sure I integrate that better, but I just want to make sure it's even. So this side seems a little low compared to what is. I'm looking at the picture, and it's a bit higher on his forehead. That like this curve here, this arc. Hi, Chris. So it's kind of like that shape. Okay. Let's see. He does have a bit of this like strong shadow on his temple. It's not crazy, but it is there. So we're going to try and incorporate that a little. Have you seen any Cole stuff in hand, by the way? How does he compare to the world stage, do you think? Don't know of many people who put the work out there with high resolution photos and so zoomed in, very brave. I have seen his work in hand. It is quite impressive. Yeah, I mean, it's really impressive. I think he's up there with some of the best of them. Hi, Carlitos. How are you? I have not, like, judged his work. I can't say that. But, like, I mean, I've seen it in hand to know how it holds up. Buenas noches. ¿Qué tal? Don't want to overdo this. I'm just trying to get some of that temple shadow on here. and I can pull it back where I need. I think when you take someone like Dave or Albert or Steve Garcia, these guys that like paint so ridiculously like detailed and precise that it can actually, I don't know. I don't think Albert loses something in hand. Like his is just as crazy in hand. Maybe if I could say one thing about like Dave or Steve, there might be like a slight amount of that's lost in hand because it's so fine a detail that like you almost can't, it's like too tiny to appreciate. I've never seen his work in hand either, but I heard that about, is it Thomas Picard does like Warhammer stuff, and he's another one that paints like ridiculously like tiny details. I think there is like something to be said about like a level of effort and like whether it comes across. And I'm not saying like you know, what Dave doesn't do isn't incredible, but I had Albert asked me Albert looked at one of my pieces one time, and I told him how fast I painted it, and he was like, he looked at my work and said, I sometimes wonder if I'm wasting my time. So diminishing returns, I guess. I'll be honest. I don't think Albert's. Well, maybe. Okay, I'm gonna be on. I'm gonna be honest here. There's maybe some stuff that Albert's wasting his time on when you're like, dude, why did you perfectly blend like the inside of this cape that you literally can't see after you glued it on? Like that's OCD levels of perfection. But there's other stuff he does that I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And definitely was not a waste of time. Come on, camera. But anyways. I am not a perfectionist. I will tell you that. I paint I will definitely paint something and be like, yep, that's good enough. That is how I want it to look. Any more than that feels like a waste to me. So I actually talked to Dave like a couple anyway, recently. And yeah, we got talking about what we could do to improve and everything. Like, so I think someone asked earlier, like, yeah, I think it's really important to have someone that you can bounce off of. Someone that will be really honest with you. All right. I think his hairline looks all right. I think his temples look okay. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's take a look at him. All right, he's looking pretty good. Okay, now we need to go around the hairline. Correct this stuff. Clean all this up. Thanks, Jonas. Whoops. That's okay, because you know what I can do? I can create a little more hairs coming off of the sculpted hair. I don't have to just use the exact sculpt. I can also come back in and clean up around them using the skin. Right? It's easy enough to come back in and make small corrections. All right, let's look at his hair color. I think we need something slightly darker. All right, let's switch to a bigger brush to do this. And I'm going to zoom out a little because I don't need to see it this close, and I don't need my glasses for this. Okay, so I'm going to make a nice dark brown. I like to start with a darker layer when doing this if I'm going to paint like texture on top of hair. Also, if he's sweaty and his hair looks kind of wet, like if he's been sweating and his hair's a little more wet, he's going to have a bit more like shine to his hair, so wet hair tends to look darker than dry hair. See ya. I don't quite know what the back of his neck would be. It looks like, I don't know how he cuts the back of his hair. I guess I could find a picture of him from the back, because definitely have pictures of his back tattoo. Which we are going to do. Still have to do all the blending and stuff on the back. Refine the muscles on the back of him. Just paint the back. Hashtag paint the back. No, don't have to add always. Just paint the back. Paint the back of your damn models. Okay. You dry yet? Not quite. All right. So we need a black, like a brownish tone to do the midtones, or medium brown. Not too much red in it. And we are going to focus on getting the lights right, but also following kind of the shape that his hair is going to be flowing. The his hair is also going to be a little, like, we want to do it a little messed up because it's not like combed, you know, he's been in a fight, so it's not perfect. Drip one check. Hello. Welcome. Okay, so I'm just kind of going around doing sort of rough brush strokes that follow the direction the hair would be kind of flowing and growing, you know? And I don't want to over highlight at this stage. And I do need to leave some of that darker brown in there. So gonna notice that I'm not just painting like straight lines, right? Kind of roughly painting little curves and trying to think about which direction the hair goes. Right now it's more rough shapes. Okay, so some hair might curve one way, some might curve another. Here we can maybe paint like in a almost curving circle, like where his hair maybe has a bit of a cowlick or something. I don't know. I'm sure that has a name. The like swirl, the swirly patch at, like, you know, the back of your head. Yeah, I was just kind of assumed as a cowlick, but I had a cowlick right here also. Like, if my hair was long, this would go like, or short, it would be like wee. It would be like a big swirl in my way my hair grows. Okay. Add some more light. Now we can try and start to paint a little bit smaller. The important thing I'm trying to think about or maintain, right, is the length of my brush strokes, right? I don't want to have like a bunch of different lengths. His hair is not, you know, his hair should roughly all be the same length. Now, some small variation is fine, but I don't want, you know, I don't want to do a line that starts here and ends down here. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. Sorry if I'm getting off camera. Let's try and zoom out a little bit so you can sort of see what I'm doing a little better. It's tough because when I'm doing small detail like this, I want it to be zoomed in so you guys can get a good look at like every little brush stroke, but then also makes it really hard to stay exactly on camera. All right. I'm also happy to have some hairs like cross over each other. So I'm always trying to find that direction that works, right? I don't want a bunch of perfectly parallel lines. It's not natural looking. So here I might come in and change direction, crisscross. Yeah, you guys can see all right at this distance. So anyways, I'm just building up texture. Right now I'm not overly concerned with the overall volume like of the hair. I will at some point be like trying to restore some of the overall shape to the head. But right at this moment, I'm just kind of getting the underlying texture. And then I can make adjustments through glazes and more layering to create more shape to his hair. What is that? Ubinko and my dictionary. Okay, got it. So you can see sometimes I go like this, and then sometimes I go the other way. Okay. All right. So we've got the kind of rough texture in. Now we want to go even further. So next layer, all right. Add a little more of this tan color, some white. And now we're going to be focused more on where the light is, right? So the light he's more facing this way. So the light's coming here. So this is the area where I'm going to want the brightest highlights on his hair. Okay. So I'm going to focus this next layer more of this light and texture here. I'm trying to think about it as like a dome, right? Okay, and then continue it around a little bit. And continue to build upon that texture and light. Yeah, you could say that. This is a bit more similar to painting fur, especially with the the messiness of it, right? I am also thinking about like volume with longer hair, right? Maybe a little sooner, but longer hair I tend to use more the texture to create the volume. From an earlier stage here, I'm more focused on the texture. Also because this figure's hair has like no sculpted texture to it. Almost, it's like it's pretty close to being like entirely flat. So here on the back, I'm getting kind of second light on the back. Okay, now we're going to take a little, where is it? Where the smoke at? I don't want that one. I want the more brownish of smoke. Do I have it? I mean, I know I have it somewhere, but I feel like I'm blind at the moment. That's okay. That's fine. We'll just use this. This is Wasteland Brown. It's just a brown express paint. Kind of like an ink, but not quite, right? And we're going to use this as a glaze. To go over the hair and restore some of the shape to his head, right? So we're going to focus a little more on where shadows would be because we want the light more in the middle. I mean, most of his hair faces upwards, so we don't have to go extreme, and we can, so I'm just going to do a subtle amount here. Right, there's not going to be a lot of shadow with basically it being on top of his head. Volumetric shadow, that is. The hairs themselves can cast little shadows. Okay, something like so. So you see just that, right, on the side of the head has kind of restored some shape. But you can still see the texture through it. How to express color? Express color is more like express color is basically the same as contrast paint for what's it called? It's the same as contrast paint from like GW or speed paint from Army Painter. It's like their competition to that. So it functions more like a ink than it does a like base layer. You're really just going to darken what you put it on top of. When are you heading to Poland? June. In June. Yeah, so I mean, I think they call it Game Color Express, right? No, it's just Express Color. Okay. Yeah. As opposed to Game Color. All right, let's zoom in just a touch. Hi. I painted it. Yes. I did not sculpt it. Thanks, Dodge. Appreciate it, bud. Thanks for the tier 1. If you... Where is it? If you would like to get your own copy of the figure to paint, you can check the link out there. It also comes with a tutorial by Mark Mosklans, who is incredible, and I watched the tutorial just so I could give my honest opinion of it. It's quite good. Thanks, Defier and the Russo Nuata. Who is he? Who is this guy? He is supposed to be UFC fighter Justin Gaethje, or at least my version is. The figure is not really anyone. I am painting him to try and make him look like real life fighter Justin Gaethje. Hi Chromium. Okay, a little more like up here. Let's push the light a little bit more. We want that kind of shiny highlight on his Briolu, and it Shoes XXL. Hello. Okay. This reminds me. So, I do sketches of anime and portraits, but I'm not that good yet. You just have to keep practicing and studying. You don't just start good. No one just starts good. Well, unless you're like a savant, but that's, extremely rare. Yeah, you have to practice. I say talent is not your innate skill at something. I think it is the speed at which you learn. I think anybody can become just as good. The time it takes, might be different for each person, but with practice, you can you can reach the same level. For example, I've been painting every day 15 years. Basically every day. I'll count my 12 and 14 hour days as making up for the days that I missed. Right, so we just have to put the like final highlight, kind of that final highlight in his hair. Thanks, Jank Sulmak and Shoku Bombastic. Appreciate it. Where are all the sudden follows coming from? Where are you guys coming from, huh? How'd you find me? Just add a few more little shines in the hair. Okay, something like such. Let's take a step and look. How shiny do we want to go? Go back to my reference photo. Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes his hair looks really light, and then sometimes it looks kind of dark. I'm gonna push it a little bit more. Maybe with just a little yellow ochre. Xander Zone 2424, welcome. How's everyone doing? All right, if we really want that shine, can push the light just a touch more. His hair can be quite contrasted, right? Like you can look at my hair and see it's like really dark in here, And it's like super bright right here, right? So okay. We'll add just a little bit of glaze to add some color back to this. And then as a final step, we're going to take this mid-tone here, with a little bit of the light. We want to try and reduce some of the extreme shadows in this area, just to really like make this look very highlighted. You know, any kind of intense light reflection here is going to kill some of those like natural, some of those deeper shadows. Okay. Sometimes I want to take him out and look at him under a different light. It helps evaluate the figure under different lighting situations. Okay, push the light here on the back a little more. Push the light up top, on the back of his head. Who's that? Yab, hello, welcome. Just letting you know, okay. That sounds like something a bot would say. Where do you work? A data center? Actually, that's very bot behavior, huh? Where that seems like the place a bot would work. Oh, welcome. Appreciate you hanging out. Man, that's not impressive. ChatGPT can do that now. It's actually not even the selecting the... So it's not just selecting them correctly. If you guys know anything about CAPTCHAs, I know this is kind of a tangent, but it does more to detect if you're just if you're a human or not, based on like how your mouse moves and some other factors. That's why you don't technically have to get them all right. Honestly, you'd probably pass if you just went faster and didn't overthink it. Yeah, maybe might be able to detect your anxiety. Because I used to implement Google reCAPTCHA, which is, one of the CAPTCHA things they do. And there's an invisible one where just based off of like how you fill out a form and click submit and stuff, the system can like detect whether you're a bot or not, and you don't even have to do the thing where you fill out the like click on the images or click the box that's like I'm not a bot. Okay. All right, I'm pretty happy with that part of his hair. So we need to do the side, which is going to be shorter and slightly more skin toned. Probably only going to do the one side on camera because the other side is very difficult to see. But essentially this is the same as doing the beard. And we could kind of do this two ways. We could either make it slightly longer, or we could do it like this, where we just do lots of little dots. Dude, it's kind of crazy if we're quickly just, talking about AI art. It's sort of insane how fast I've like been trained to recognize it at this point. It's like I can look at a picture and just be like, yeah, that's AI. Even ones that are attempting to be realistic, it's like, one of the major giveaways of AI art is that it like it just puts like random junk, like it's just detail. It'll just throw noise, like detail with no purpose into the image. So if you're like looking at something, you're like, oh, I'm gonna look at this this artwork of a, fantasy character, and there's just like a bunch of like random crap that you can't distinguish. It's probably AI. Like detail with no purpose at all. Yeah, his beard just like, I don't know, just kind of fades in and changes colors. It's crazy, man. I'm going to actually kind of push that a little bit more. It's very unusual. Like, I mean, it's not unusual, but it does look pretty crazy that his beard is like actually a straight up different color than his hair. Oh yeah, dude, the amount of just art, like AI art you find in Google searches now, like trying to find reference photo now is kind of hard just because of the insane amount of AI. Like, what was that one? I was like, I wanted to find a Viking or something. I was like, I was trying to look up Viking, Celtic, like knots and stuff for designs, like just to get a reference of the general design principles of them. And man, like AI crap just kept showing up everywhere. I was like, dude, show me some real ones, like some real life, like museum examples of carvings and stuff. I guess there's probably I guess you could like keyword out AI or something. But that's just another step in a pain in the ass. All right, so see how the skin, right? We can go a little more skin tone in the lower half. So if I mix just a bit more skin tone as I get lower, it's like even closer to shaved to his head. So it's really stubbly. I can also take and with some skin tone, just create a glaze. Can I add some of that skin tone? Blah, 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 blah. Let's rewind and try that again. I can add some of that skin tone color to his hair, make it look more shaved. All right. You guys think the hair on this side? Still got to do this side, but you get the idea of how to do it. Right. Makes sense. I think next week, or we can start. We could start on like the belt or the gloves or something, and then we'll eventually get to the tattoos and the sweat droplets and all that other fun little final detail stuff. Yeah, I mean, I basically use very similar colors in the beard and the hair, right? But just that bit or more of this red tone, it makes his beard look much more reddish, right? So, yeah, the mid tone can go a long way to like adjusting the color and how much, just that little bit more blue and red in the around the eye can change that to make it feel very purpley. I didn't use any actual purple, right? It's just a bit of that subtle color difference on the eye can really shift the perception of that color. So yeah, guys. All right. I think we'll call it there for this evening.